Founder of the National Bank, Vic Revere, dead at the age of 78. The Marine unit loses one of its own in a tragic bike accident, and government to modify the CBI program to make it more competitive. I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details coming up. A period of sadness for the police after learning of the death of one of their own in a bike crash on Kinfield Highway over the weekend. Dominica reports.
An obvious somber mood at the Marine Unit or Coast Guard base of the Dominica Police Force on Monday as Corporal Chester Francis did not report to work. Francis was the rider of a motorbike on Kinfield Highway when he lost control, causing him to be thrown off the bike and over the sea defense wall on Sunday. Inspector in charge of the Marine Unit, Simon Edwards, says Francis will be remembered for being a loving person.
Well, it's a sort of somber mood because it's a brother. Up to yesterday, it was even worse yesterday because the guys were, for want of a better word, were crying their eyes out. He was always receptive to learning. He would always ask questions, and he was always willing to go the extra mile. We had no issues with the being men in terms of able to express their feelings. So something we impress on the supervisors as well is to allow the men to express themselves. Let them talk about him. It makes it easier for the transition of the loss of one of their brothers.
Edwards says there's no doubt Francis was dedicated to the profession.
He joined the force in 2011, and he came to the unit in 2013, September. And from there, before he came to the unit, he worked in the drug squad unit, and he spent a year working in the Rosa Court. And from all information I received, he was very good. And here he proved himself as well. So his reputation preceded him. Well, he functioned as a communications officer. He was trained in radio communication. He was also tasked with other duties like patrols at sea, investigations, and any other task assigned. 5
passengers of an HRV which was involved in the accident had to seek medical attention at the hospital.
A large fragment of the motorcycle collided with an oncoming motor vehicle registration number PP802 occupied by 5 individuals and being driven by Natsika John Paul. All occupants of PP802 sustained injuries, and they were transported to the Accident and Emergency Department of the Princess Margaret Hospital, where they were all examined by a medical doctor. 4 were discharged, but one 17-year-old female of Stockfam was admitted.
Police Chief Daniel Carbon has informed Channel 5 News that Cabinet affords serving police officers who have passed away a military funeral. Dominica, Channel 5 News.
In other news, the man who brought the National Bank into existence has died. Captain Vic Revere, who was a former member of the Patrick John administration, reportedly died of kidney failure in St. Lucia, where he was seeking medical attention. Information from historian Dr. Lennox Honeychurch indicates that the late Captain Vic Revere also played a role in the establishment of Kinfield Airport. According to Dr. Honeychurch, in 1977, Vic Revere, Premier Patrick John, and Attorney General Leo Austin got into a small plane at Melville Hall and flew across the island to Kinfield and landed on the public road between Massac and Kinfield to prove that an airport could be built at Kinfield. Dr. Honeychurch says work on the airstrip started during their time in government, but was surfaced and the terminal was completed in the 1980s by the Dominica Freedom Party government. Dr. Honeychurch also provided this picture of Victor Revere sitting with Premier Patrick John and Arlington Revere when John gave a pre-independence review of his intentions to go independent at the United Nations in New York. Vic Revere would have turned 79 on Sunday. And early 2017 is being given as the recommencement date for work on the Moroccan-funded hotel in Portsmouth. At a press conference on Friday, the Prime Minister revealed that during his most recent trip to Morocco, he was able to iron out some problems which had arisen with the Moroccan-funded hotel in Portsmouth. Work had begun on this 50-room project in February 2011 and was scheduled to be completed in 2013. However, work came to a standstill sometime thereafter.
With respect to the stalled Moroccan hotel project, all the chinks have been ironed out. Local contractors have been paid. The main contractor is in receipt of 80% of the projected completion costs, and work to complete the hotel should commence in earnest soon after the Christmas holidays.
Continued support for the country's agriculture sector through the provision of fertilizer from Morocco was also secured during the Prime Minister's trip there.
While in Morocco, I met with several government officials and discussed matters of interest to Dominica and ordinary Dominicans. For example, I can tell you that we're able to negotiate another shipment of fertilizer for our agricultural sector, and this should be landing in Dominica late February to early March.
Mr. Skerrit says the Conference of Parties, a COP22 meeting held in Morocco, was a major event at which small island developing states could once more urge developed nations to take the issue of climate change more seriously.
The matter of climate change continues to be of some concern to us as small states, Dominica included. Our attendance at this summit was critical as we continue to advocate our meaningful commitment from the main emitters of greenhouse gases. Dominica, like the rest of CARICOM, will continue to make it very clear that the financial resources need to be made available the soonest by the developed world. Our country's very existence is under serious threat if mitigation against climatic conditions are not put in place. Time on this matter of climate change waits for no man, and indeed no country.
According to the Prime Minister, further details on the country's attendance at COP22 in Marrakesh, Morocco, will be given by the Health Minister, Dr. Kenneth Daru, at a later date. Changes on the cards for Dominica's Citizenship by Investment program. Following a recent trip to 5 countries to promote the CBI program, Prime Minister Skerrit revealed that modifications are on the way in order to make the program more attractive to potential investors and consequently more successful for the country.
So it is always important for us to keep abreast with the trends that's taking place, because it is an evolving process. It's an evolving product. It is not static. It is moving. It is fluid. And therefore, as time changes, clearly you will have to continue reviewing your program. You have to continue reviewing the regulations. For example, in the next few days, I will indicate some minor changes which we'll be making to the regulations to enhance our program. Not only its attractiveness, but also the good governance practices, and to ensure that our program can continue to withstand the test of scrutiny from our international partners.
The Prime Minister pointed out that the number of countries offering the CBI was continually growing, hence Dominica must take steps to ensure the program remains competitive.
So it is not only Dominica that has this program. So this program has been existing. As you know, Canada was a front runner for many decades in respect to their Citizenship by Investment program. So you have people who have amassed decades of experience in the business and who know this business inside out. Luckily for us in Dominica, thank God, many of these people are also promoting and marketing our program. Okay? So by interfacing with them, we are able to get from them firsthand what is the advice they can provide to Dominica on how Dominica can improve its program and make its program successful.
2 more Miss Dominica 2017 contestants were launched over the weekend in their respective communities. They were Teresa Lewis of Bath Estate on Saturday and Zethra Barron of Fort Saint-Jean on Sunday. Speaking at Teresa's launching, Parliamentary Representative for Roseau South Joshua Francis pointed to the courage, faith and voluntary spirit required to be a Queen contestant.
So each and every one of them must congratulate herself for taking part in next year's Queen competition. But of course, here this afternoon, our Queen contestant in the spotlight is Miss Lewis. So I'm going to take an opportunity to say a little things some things I know of Miss Lewis. Well, of course, all of us know that she's a teacher, and her platform deals with special needs or education for children with special needs. She's championing a platform which is very, very important. It is easy to forget those with special needs, the weak ones, the marginalized. And she has decided to champion their cause. So I want to say to you this afternoon, that platform should not die after the 2017 Queen competition. It's a very important platform.
Queen contestant Teresa Lewis commended the members of her community for their support.
Where would we be without the supporters, the stalwarts that wear our t-shirts, cheer us on, and remind us that we are human? And lived there for 22 years. This playing field was a place for my neighbors and I to play and watch football. On weekends, we enjoyed taking baths in the river, allowing ourselves to be carried down by the current, screaming in delight. Bafi State is a community of football with a formidable team, a strong legacy of solid wins.
Jethro Barron expressed similar sentiments.
My gosh, I have had the most observant critics throughout my upbringing. When I step out of my home in Timon, I am scanned from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, while my neighbors comment, Princess Diana Saucy. Come and see the shoes. See where Zephyr trying to break her leg. Vinny wear makeup smudgy for say Jack too small for you. And the list surely goes on.
Miss Dominica 2016, Tasia Flosak, wished both young ladies the best of luck. You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, the phenomenal Caribbean Men's Symposium. An environmental sustainability scientist has encouraged tapping into renewable energy sources as a means of saving money in the long run. Dr. Stephen Roden of Jamaica brought his expertise in energy-related solutions at a recent Renewable Energy Forum in the Dominican Republic. Roden told Channel 5 News he's in the business of helping clients reduce on the use of energy, water and other utilities while increasing their financial viability.
It's really significant given that the global warming, which is occurring, as all or most scientists have agreed on, and we have to stop it, basically trying to curb it by cutting our greenhouse gas emissions, by implementing sustainable development solutions. So that can include developing different types of buildings. For more green buildings, we can implement energy efficiency, which is really important. Water efficiency as well is really important. And then finally, of course, renewable energy such as solar photovoltaic and wind energy.
United Nations Sustainable Development Goals speak to affordable and clean energy and clean water and sanitation, and that is what Dr. Roden is advocating.
I am working with one utility company, Kankara Development. What they did in the 80s and the 90s, they actually developed over 2,000 homes across the island. And what they found was that there was no access to wastewater treatment or proper wastewater treatment. Currently, the World Health Organization expects wastewater to be treated to tertiary standards, whereas the majority of wastewater in Jamaica is being treated to primary standards. And this is very unacceptable from a health standpoint, definitely. And we don't want to be contaminating our potable water. We are developing a project that we are trying to get funded through different sources, where we will basically save the company money, make it more viable, and of course we're going to be providing clean water to many homes.
And men are being called upon to expand their role beyond merely providing daily sustenance for their children. CEO of VF Inc. and creator of the phenomenal Caribbean Men's Symposium, Dr. Valde Henry, says it's time to begin examining the role of men as nurturers of their families, communities, and society. Dr. Henry told the men attending a weekend symposium nurturing was a critical role that they had to play. Henry says that means men have to be present in the lives of their children to provide for the emotional support and well-being of these children. She says children in turn can pass on their father's legacy of caring, love, and sacrifice.
The various issues that have happened in Dominica pertaining to child sexual abuse, pertaining to domestic violence and violence against children. I think the focus, it calls for a greater focus for men on their roles as father. It is said and it is shown that a father's role in a child's life, particularly daughters, they say, but I think when we look at some of the issues with male underperforming, I think also more, maybe particularly men, the male child, the boys, is very, very important.
Saturday's Phenomenal Men's Symposium coincided with International Men's Day 2016. And a 40-year-old institution which has been looking after the spiritual well-being of Dominicans is now playing its part in looking after the physical well-being of the population. This as the Deliverance Baptist Church hosted its health fair over the weekend with special emphasis on cancer.
So the focus of the health fair is on cancers. And so we are at this point, having the doctor speak to some men about the prostate and caring for the prostate and about prostate cancer. We also have the women aspect of the whole idea of cancer, where breast examination is being done, and also examination of the cervix. So all of this is really trying to help both men and women in the area of cancer. We also have an area for HIV, folks who would like to know their status, and so that's also taking place. And the regular, where your blood pressure, your blood sugar is taken, and we are simply trying to reach out as a church to minister to the whole man.
The health fair was held in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the Dominica Cancer Society. The 40th anniversary celebrations of the Deliverance Baptist Church run from the 2nd November to the 14th of December. And one of Dominica's popular artists and painter, Lowell Roye, is encouraging his colleagues to put in the necessary work needed to succeed. Roye's work featured at Ross University's Art and Craft Expo on Friday. The purpose of the event was to help raise money for the Northern District Home for the Aged and the Roving Caregivers program.
Never doubt yourself, because even these paintings I have right here, I never really know exactly what I'm doing. So if you try to do exactly what nature provides, you're going to struggle, because you can't really do it as realistic. What you need to do is, because we have cameras for that, to take pictures, what you want to do is put yourself into the work and put your own creativity into the work. So to the youth, don't doubt yourself. And I have a saying that goes, I can't do it is no excuse. You'll prove you can when you try and be good at it through practice.
Roye said his work was mainly focused on animals and plants, which requires deep meditation beforehand. He advised the youth to find what works for them before attempting their masterpiece.
I do a lot of meditation, but not the sitting down meditation, a lot of thought. So I think about the work a lot, and everything I do has a lot of concept behind it. Like this one here, the title is Life Within. So it doesn't just show eggs in a nest. It actually speaks to what's going on inside the eggs and the life that's inside the eggs. And we can relate to that as people, because we have a life or fire within us that is dying to come out.
Meantime, woodcarver Orlando Coffey shared a little of what inspires him and what has worked out for him.
I would just tell them follow their mind, Don't give up on their dream. If it's that you want to do, you are inspired to do it, just pursue it. That's what I did. Well, just, with the jewelry, I have all the materials around me. And when I saw how easy it is to just get into it, I just decided, let me just get into it. With the carving, I learned the carving at school, but then I get inspired by looking at different things and different ideas that come from my mind.
That's news. Your sports highlights next.
Kicking off with football, RIC Kensborough have stunned football fans in Granby and Bath Estate over the weekend in the DFA Flow Premier League when they listened to Channel 5 Sports and went up to Geneva in Granby with 14 players to defeat Bath Estate FC 1-0. Owen Oscar scored the lone goal on the penalty spot for RIC Kensborough. It was Kensborough's first victory after 11 games in the Premier League. In other games, Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers took revenge after their first round defeat to Southeast by beating them by 2-0. Exodus FC and Middleham United played to a 1-1 draw, and the matches between Petro Caribe Point Michel and Caribbean Coalharm United and Dubla FC and Waukee Rollers were called off. In the Division 1 competition, ACS Tarish United beat Delton United by 5-0. Skero North East and East Central played to a 1-1 draw, and Gully Dream Team beat Club Lubia 3-1. Moving on to Domino's, Kento's Bar and Grill defeated Point One in the grand finals of the Element Agency and Kubuli Domino finals played in La Plaine over the weekend in front of hundreds of supporters. Final scores: Kento's 3,003, Point One 2,161. At the prize-giving ceremony, league coordinator Eddie Beaupierre said it was a successful competition.
Let me recognize the fans, let me recognize the scorers. Let me recognize everybody who, in one way or the other, played a part to ensure that the Element Agency's Kubuli Chebesau Domino League was a success. I must say it was a pleasure as Element Agencies, the manager of Element Agencies, to organize such a great activity. And I would like to say that without my dedicated staff, which is headed and supervised by my dear wife, Pam.
Member of Parliament for the La Plaine constituency promised to continue assistance for the domino competition next year.
And so let me say to you that having seen what happened here in this year, that I believe we can put next year in perspective and make this league much bigger and better. And let me give the firm commitment that I am prepared to assist in whatever way that I can to ensure that this domino league continues.
Suzette Domino team placed third in the competition. Onto the cricket field, Soufriya Sulphur Springs Bleachers are the first ever Bolorama champions of the Stars Cricket Academy 14 and under cricket competition. They got the better of Rodney's Rock Conquerors in the grand finals on Sunday played in Portsmouth. League coordinator Glenn Joseph says this tournament will help in the development of young cricketers.
This is an opportunity for the country to show its interest in its youth. I say this because too many times we find ourselves guilty of showing little or no regard for our young people, not realizing or recognizing that they are the ones who will eventually make us proud tomorrow. This tournament will seek to enhance the talent of young boys, encouraging community cricket, and have young boys play professional cricket at an early age.
President of the Dominica Cricket Association, Emmanuel Nanthan, also addressed the opening ceremony.
It is indeed exciting for me to be here with you this morning, and I want to wish you well as you embark on a new journey, as you start a new tournament, as you start to make friends, as you start to travel around Dominica, and most importantly, as you start to play cricket. The event here today is one of the most important events in cricket development in Dominica for a number of years. And as president of the Dominica Cricket Association and all the other cricketing hats I wear, let me congratulate all those who are involved in the organization and the initiation of such an important venture.
All 14 teams took part in the Bolorama. Still in cricket, action continued in the Dominica Cricket Association's 2020 cricket competition over the weekend. Starlights registered 2 victories when they defeated Gallior and Evergreen. Starlights won 49 for 7 in 20 overs, Gallior 121 all out, and Evergreen, batting first, were 132 for 7, and Starlights replied with 137 for 3 in 15 overs. In other matches, Summits 127, Nagico Stars 103, Tremors Stars 104 all out and Marino Blasters 107 for 2. In a low-scoring match, Sagicor General Somerset was 60 all out and Police 51 all out. Dubla 127, Nagico Stars 103, and Grand Bay defeated Marino Blasters. Marino Evergreen and Gallio won by default over Collyho. And ending with rounders, Rising Stars from Grand Bay have booked a spot in the finals of the Giant Malt National Rounders competition, with one of the most exciting matches played against MCCU Stars with a 2-run victory. Batting first, Rising Stars scored 310 runs for 7 wickets in 40 overs, and then restricted Marigot to 308 for 7 in 40 overs. Rising Stars will now await the winner of the match between Dubla Almond Stars and Maxroy Royal Challengers in the grand finals this month end. That's it for sports. Join us next time.
Your weather forecast is coming up next.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am Janelle Macpherson and I'll be your presenter this evening. Infrared satellite imagery today showed this area of multi-layered clouds associated with a frontal boundary. Low-level clouds were observed across the eastern Caribbean today. Visible satellite imagery showed cloudy skies across Dominica today. Radar imagery indicated shower activity across the island chain. The weather for tonight: partly cloudy, too cloudy with a few scattered showers. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms expected mainly during the afternoon period into Wednesday. Seas tomorrow are expected to be moderate, waves peaking up to 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers, particularly on the west coast, are advised to exercise caution. Looking ahead for the next 3 days, moisture and instability are expected to generate an increase in cloudiness, showers, and thunderstorm activity across the island. Throughout the Caribbean tomorrow, partly cloudy, too cloudy skies with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms across the northern through central portion of the region. On the international cities forecast, generally fair weather conditions in New York, Miami, and Beijing. Thunderstorm activity expected in Caracas. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:11 a.m. and sunset at 5:32 p.m. For up-to-date weather information, please call our weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit our website at weather.gov.dm. Thank you for viewing and have a good night.
And to end the news, the headlines again: founder of the National Bank, Vic Revere, dead at the age of 78. The Marine unit loses one of its own in a tragic bike accident on the weekend. And government to modify the CBI program to make it more competitive. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNews21stNov2k16. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris, and to our viewers around the world, thanks for watching.